New Japan is exciting now.
Yeah,
New
they're set
Japan's
up well.
very exciting, and it's because of who's their champion.
Yep.
It starts at the top.
Yep.
While the young guys learn below.
If
That's why
only
you have
if
the
only there was
IWGP white belt.
if only there was other companies that could figure that out. It starts at the top.
It starts at the top. It really does. It really does. As positive as so many things can be, nothing can be firmly positive if your top isn't exciting. Right?
Yeah.
For all the positivities you can take out of AEW, for example, if the top's not exciting, it doesn't matter.
And they could have not given the belt to Goto here and continued with Zack Sabre Jr. and done the Goto reign later. Like I think Goto eventually winning it would make sense. But like they are maximizing as much as time they can get out of these people. Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. was starting to cool off. All right, let's go with Goto. As soon as Goto starts to cool off, that's the moment to switch to somebody else.
Yeah, and I don't know when that will be.
Exactly. Luckily, they have a New Japan Cup, Best of Super Juniors, and then a G1 Climax. And honestly, unless Goto's losing at Dominion, he could easily he might just walk in the Wrestle Kingdom as champion.
Yeah, I mean here's the thing. They're trying new things with people. I don't think Zach was a complete success like they would have wanted it to be. Yes, I know he had the 2 world title reigns or whatever, but I don't consider that a successful reign. But in the end, it paid off right.
I think it did what it needed to do.
Sure.
In terms of business success, kind of
I'm not clamoring for him to get the belt back.
Sure.
Anytime soon, right?
Sure.
So that again, you're making trials. You're seeing who's your guys, who's your not. This is going to be Goto's one reign, probably.
Yes.
So ride with it. See, you went with the hot hand to give him the belt. Now go with the hot hand to see what makes sense. Do you want to put over a younger guy in the end? Do you want to put over a, foreigner heel in the end? You're gonna have these options, but that's the exciting part about New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2025, right? We talk about the Puro scene as a whole. Noah's gone a completely different direction. They've gone with the young heel, and it's working for them.
And it's working great for them.
Dragon Gate has gone with the veteran ace, longtime ace. It's working for them.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of precursor to Goto in some ways.
All Japan has went with one of the Saitos. It's working for them.
Mm-hmm. A hot act in the Saitos.
New Japan has gone with Hiroki Goto, and it sure feels like right now it's working for them. We'll see where it goes, but it worked for them for show number 1, obviously. I'm sure the anniversary show is sold out or already sold out or gonna sell out. It's fucking Tanahashi's last IWGP World Title match, probably. Yeah. It's gonna, and it always sells out. The anniversary show always sells out. But that's the journey we're on now. It's next step. That's what all these Puro companies have been working on. It feels like next step. Not a year down the road. It's what makes sense now. It's very different for, say, Gato, who books that far down the road.
Yeah.
He's had to change that up, and it's the best. As we talk about a guy in America who refuses to do the same.
It feels like we are at the beginnings of a potential Puro boom. And I'll extend Stardom into that as well. Going similar with Ozawa's, going with a sort of heel dick that is just kind of running roughshod over the division.
I mean,
and Saya Kamatani.
Attendance is up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot,
both
scenes.
We got the Wrestling Observer Awards coming out, and you saw Taro Okada get significant. I think he got 3rd. I think.
Yeah.
It
wasn't a great year for bookers.
Yeah, not a great year for bookers, but you can't deny that he in a lot of ways working with Bushiroad, but that's part of the reason maybe their success. Yeah. But still, expanding their business significantly has done great stuff for them, and they're continuing to do that. Whereas Marigold is not floundering or struggling. It's not really a word, but they're kind of riding it right now. And Surreism is going to the hot hand, I guess, in a certain way.
That's the hottest ticket in Joshi, it sells out in seconds. Oh
Exactly. So it's just the idea. I mean, look, Scotty, it's the idea of booking. It's the
yeah,
idea of going with not necessarily young stars, which I think is the big
Mhm.
thing about last year. Not necessarily going with young stars, but going with new stars that people really haven't seen before. Sai
yeah,
Kamatani, Ozawa, Goto, I'll say even Zack Sabre Jr., Jun Saito especially. It's working for all these people. Um, in some ways, this is all working in Japan. This kind of works in WWE. WWE got a
right,
boom off of Cody Rhodes in a lot of
yeah,
ways. Obviously built off the backs of Roman and all these other guys, but really it felt like it was Cody.
yeah. We're
AEW, for AEW to succeed right now and to join this group,
right,
TNA, I'll throw in there with Joe Hendry. I'll say it. I don't like Joe Hendry, but let's just say we'll throw in Joe Hendry into that
yeah,
mix. For AEW to figure this out, they do it sometimes. They did it with fucking Hurt Syndicate. They went with the hot hand of Hurt Syndicate and they put the titles on them.
Mhm.
The hot hand is not around in AEW in terms of singles division. They're distracted with everything else, but they could do this. Go with the hot hand, pivot,
right.
do something
They
that's
can
fun and
get
hot.
a hot hand. It's very easy for a company like AEW to get a hot hand.
The problem with this storytelling philosophy that is frustrating me with US wrestling is that in some ways it feels like you're locked into telling a specific story.
Yeah,
You don't have to finish it. You don't have to
yeah.
finish the story.
Mhm. I mean, again, in Japan, we are seeing a rise after a long time of not getting
Yeah,
tickets, right?
it's exciting.
It's Puro, it's Joshi, it's not just the top companies, it's every company.
Mhm.
I I follow this very specifically for Joshi. It's like the thing I do now.
Mhm.
Joshi Former every Friday. We like point these things out. Fucking Unagi Sayaka held a one match main event in Korakuen Hall today against
Yeah.
Mako Satomura. Sold out, 1,600 in attendance.
Yes, for one match.
Now, I'm sure the tickets were pretty cheap because, again, it was one match,
Sure.
but it's sold out. Stardom had their biggest Korakuen at the top of the month. Marvelous. Sendai Girls is running Yogi, and it's selling very well. Like, this is my point. It's the scenes. And we're talking about Puro. We're talking about New Japan selling out. We're talking about Noah succeeding with a new guy. It's all these different recipes that are different from the norm for these companies.
Noah, by the way, sold out that Korakuen Hall show. Star
Yes,
Navigation
yes.
Premium.
They're going different from the norm, and it's doing them a lot of good. And for a lot of these companies, you can see what's next. You
Yeah.
can see what's next, right? We're talking about Noah with Kenta. Kenta's gonna be at the top and it's gonna be hot. You know why? Because it's fucking Kenta and Noah. You know,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
is a big thing. For Dragon Gate, they're using Yamato to put over a young guy eventually. Like
Yeah.
that is the story there. For New Japan, the fun of this is we're just gonna see. Like there's no set thing because this is very unique for them. And I
Because it
think
does
that's
because
exciting.
they aren't locked into a story that they're telling.
Right.
What they're locked into is when this thing starts cooling off, what they're locked into is creating hot acts with other wrestlers so that
Yeah.
when Hiroki Goto cools down, they can immediately slot in
Yeah.
another guy, and that can be the new hot act and can bump up business again.
Yeah. I mean,
Eh,
all Japan's very different. They just kind of gotta keep running. Like they're a very different company. They have to run title matches, they gotta run all these things. But the
Yeah,
Saitos are hot.
yeah,
So that's what they're going with, you know? But that's the fun for me. That's why like I'm loving wrestling so much this year, is these products are hot. They're exciting. Do I love everything they're doing? No. But can I get behind it because it's working? Fuck yeah, I can.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm excited, and it's frustrating to see other companies not do that, but it's great to see this, and I hope this continues. I suspect this to continue. I,
Yeah.
I think I think if anything, maybe this is a point in time where we could get some turns. I think the Ozawa Galeno thing might have been a misstep. I think there
Yeah.
might be an overexposure concern of the Saitos in All Japan. I think taking
Yep.
the tag titles off of them might be a good
There's always
idea.
concerns. There's
There's always
always
concerns,
concerns.
right? There. This is a good point where that that tide can turn a little bit. But what separates the great companies from the good the fine companies is figuring that out. And New Japan is on a good wave right now. And all they have to do is continue elevating guys like they're doing with Gabe Kidd, like they did with David Finlay, I'll say last year, like they're doing with Suji, like doing with a bunch of other guys. So they're on a good track. Everyone's on a good track in Japan.
It's good to have established people
to
help. I think that's what we're seeing is the established people help push, again, a younger generation that is ultimately taking over the scene as a whole in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's why Japanese wrestling as a whole is so exciting right now. And American wrestling is where it's at.